Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tanks World Podcast, where today we will be talking about a movie. The movie is Daphne and Velma. Yes, the Daphne and Velma from Scooby-Doo. But this movie is based more on then before they actually met Shaggy and Scooby. So Daphne and Velma have been internet friends for a very long time, to the point where they're best friends. So Daphne is telling Velma about a possible haunted amusement park, and Velma is just pretty much debunking Daphne's theory. And then Daphne tells Velma that she's actually finally going to be going to Velma's school. And Velma is kind of in shock, because she's technically kind of the shy girl, or a person that nobody really wants to hang out with, or even acknowledge in any way. She's kind of she's kind of a nerd, but, she's kind of played slightly a nerdier character in the cartoon and the live-action movies and etc., etc. But she kind of just keeps to herself and just, does her own thing. But Daphne starts to get ready for school, and she has... Excuse me. She's got a machine that selects... she's got a machine that selects clothing, and she picks a pretty decent-looking outfit for, teenage girl, I guess. And she finally... Her dad drops her off at school. She almost gets beamed in the head by a rainbow volleyball or a soccer ball or something. Then she meets the high school lead, or not the lead, but rep or something, and she ends up showing her around. I believe her name is Janet. She's gonna be called Janet now. So Daphne is getting introduced to all these different people. There's this guy, a really smart guy named Spencer, and then there's this other guy named Flint, I believe, and they're, smart guy. Spencer is the smart guy. Svensson, I think that's his name. I'm probably butchering it. And he's the jock, but he's kind of smart. I'm not saying jocks aren't smart, but, this one is, really kind of not jockey, but, he's not the smartest looking jock. Okay, past it. So, they're walking, showing people, they have a leaderboard of sorts, of the different... If you have high grades, high grades in math, social studies, all et cetera, gym class, you're up to this high, you're number one. So it's you're in first place of some sort, and you might get a reward at the end of the season. But as Jan and a few others, the other two people talking to Daphne, she sees Velma and she goes, "Hi, Velma," and Velma doesn't doesn't respond to her. She doesn't respond because she just trying to do her own thing. So they go to... Daphne tries to talk to Velma, and Velma's you can't have lunch with me, Daphne. You can't really hang out with me, all this stuff like that. And Daphne's just confused. And the thing is, she is not, in this movie, she is not the ditzy, ditzy damsel in distress type character that she ends up being in the live action movies of Scooby-Doo. She's kind of a strong woman that is quite brave. Excuse me. Then they go to lunch, and one of the classmates are surprised that she's got a California roll or something like that, or apparently a sushi or something like that. And water. So she's having lunch, and then there's lights start to flicker in the hallway, scary, just flickering. So Daphne is going down the hallway. She pulls out I'm guessing an ENF detector. So she's trying, a recording device that has an alien head on it that glows in the dark. She is addicted to aliens. So she runs into Daphne or Velma, and pretty much Velma's trying to get away from the situation, saying, I'm just trying to go to the sports game class. She couldn't think of gym. But, they find a Spencer who's kind of in an awkward trance, get sucked into a locker. So they try to get into the locker. Wait, actually before that, Daphne is still confused why. Oh wait, they see. Okay, we're going back to the lockers thing. They try to get into the locker, and all of a sudden, Daphne's dad is there. She ends up. He's in pain because he hurt his leg. And Daphne's asking him, so what are you doing here? And he gives up a line. I thought I was here to pick you up. But, it's early yet in the day. So Daphne is ain't very perfect at all until she finds out that her dad's been pretty much, doing things for her, getting the things she wants, having her playlist be a one of those toy computers or pianos where, you press a button and it goes do 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 or something, different beats. And the clothes machine was all her dad, and so she wants to be more of an independent woman. And the next day she finds out that it's harder than she expects to be normal, instead of having her father do everything for her. And they go to a class where Spencer wants Daphne to help him with something, but he kind of looks stoned in my deal. He kind of looks high, but he's just saying, I'm good. He's kind of drooling, so he's kind of turns mentally challenged in a way, that he can't really control his movements, I'm not saying mentally challenged people can't move. Yeah. I'm just going to stop that now. I'm just digging myself a bigger hole. So, Daphne and Velma end up being lab partners. And Velma ends up sabotaging their project, and they're covered in slime. Or goop or something, and they're throwing gunk at each other. And then they're both sent to the principal's office. Then Like the principal is Daphne's aunt. And you can definitely tell the similarities when she puts her glasses on and kind of looks just like Velma. So they start arguing, like in front of her, and like apparently they have, this school is technology up the wazoo, people. And there's this couch where if they're not getting along, it pushes you closer and closer to each other to, until you become friends, I guess. So they start like bickering, and then they start getting along because the principal ends up having this, I'm guessing it's an Alexa with a face on it. That's what I would say. But it's has a different name. It ends up, putting the girls through the extreme process where they're pushing each other closer, and all of a sudden they're laying down and reclining. And there's a funny scene. I consider it a funny scene. I don't know if anyone else would. But they're arguing all this different things, and the arguments were like, you're on my hair. Well, you're on my hair. Well, you're spitting at me. Then Velma goes, well, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. He goes, and then they start laughing, and they got back along because it's good, hard fun, solid fun, And then they want to figure out what's going on and why Spencer's all deed. And they end up going to find, they're trying to figure out the trap door or the thing of the locker, the secret locker. And the thing is about this, they have to, break into the locker. So they break into the locker. Velma has to go home and pretty much murder her robot that has human emotions. And she always feels so bad, and just to get this liquid or this ooze that is, I guess, flammable or something. So they do that, and they get caught, and they're going back to the principal's office. And then the principal has to give them shame clouds. Stickers that are pens that you put on and tell you that you are shamed. Sorry, got to take a drink of water. Now, Daphne and Velma, are trying to get reconnaissance on different people that might be trying to sabotage other people. So they're trying to see how Flint Phoenix or something. Flint Phoenix, I believe he is. And he ends up, they kind of follow him to his locker because he's, I got to go back to my locker. I forgot my phone in my locker. And they think he's a bad guy by him, all because he's kind of, the jock and kind of rude to the more smarter kids, etc. And then all of a sudden and we find him watching cat videos. As you do, people. You watch the cat video. Then, all of a sudden, a beam comes out of his phone, and he gets sucked into the locker, just like Spencer did. Again, the girls get in trouble again. But this time they have the pins of the shame pins, and all of a sudden they have the shame drone, where a drone has a sad face cloud hovering above them. They end up finding out a little bit more information because a few other people are starting to act strange. So they need to find like pass. Well, Daphne has to be. I mean, not Daphne. Velma's gotta be like herself, like smart, intelligent, and all that good jazz. Because she's just holding back. She doesn't want to be the eye of attention, or the apple of the eye, etc., all that jazz. She just wants to be by herself. So she's got to go up the leaderboard. So she starts studying really good and all that good stuff. Getting good grades, so she levels up in the tally of the board. And honestly, how she gets to number one is kind of funny, because she technically sabotages the number one spot's thing. Then they have to go up against one more person, and it's an art show. So this other person, we're going to call her Jennifer or something. I can't think of the name. I apologize. So Velma and Daphne are trying to, not sabotage, but make it not look as great as it did, because it looked wonderful. So at this time, the lights turn on, and they're behind a screen of some sort, and Velma tells Daphne she's got to sneeze, but it looks like they're dressed as a model of some sort. And Velma's like, it's really weird. I haven't sneezed in so much, several months, or close to a year. And Daphne's like, first of all, you sneeze, you blow our cover. Second of all, you should really get that checked out. I think you should be sneezing on a daily basis. A healthy basis. And then the sneeze happens, and people, other students are trying to find them, but they find themselves in a secret hallway where apparently somebody built. So they're sneaking through this hallway and stuff like that, and they find themselves inside. They found the trapdoor to the lockers. And as all this is going on, there's a person or a thing hovering around, following them. And honestly, Velma is a skeptic, or doesn't believe in ghosts and goblins and all that other stuff, or aliens, etc. She's I don't know the word. I can't think of it. Yeah, she's a non-believer. So at this time, they see the ghost, or the ghost, and Velma grabs a crowbar, not a crowbar, just a big, strong, heavy pipe that I'm gonna whap him in the head with this. Daphne pulls out a little cord of some sort. Let's just trip him, and all of a sudden the ghost comes through, and he ends up falling over, and it's Daphne's dad. And Daphne's like, Dad, what are you doing here? But how are you hovering? It was on a hoverboard. He goes, why were you on a hoverboard? For my leg. I can't walk on it. So they're in the secret computer lab, or not lab, but where computers are, and it's got a bunch of social media posts and other things up on the screen. So they're trying to figure out who has who, or what's going on. So they have to they find one of their friends in a tube, this tube thing, and they're trying to override so they can get her out. And override the system or something, so she gets her up. But they hit a button and it shoots her up into to some other room of some sort. But as this is happening, they get in another building where they knock out a guard with the shame cloud with the drone. Then they end up like making a hole so they could get the drone in, etc., etc. And it's kind of funny because how they camouflage each other is just funny because they have, I guess they have like jackets that can, chameleon type jackets of some sort. Like, it can take the color of this, take the color of that. Daphne's against the wall with a flower print and the jacket's like making the same color, but you see her face perfectly fine in her hands. Then we have Velma that's on the floor, and there's the janitor just mopping up, like getting close to her and just like sorry. Now where they end up in a office where Daphne's mom is hooked up to this machine, and it's pretty much draining their ideas. Like, it's like draining their brain power, and for their taking the ideas so this person can take them and make them their own. And then, like, they're starting to unhook the things of Daphne's mom. And then, like, the owner of the company is there. And he tells them, well, now, you should have died inside the elevator. How? It was filled with wolves. Oh, I knew I forgot to give them the wolves. So pretty much, they find out that the owner is just a hologram and there's somebody else involved in this matter. So they undo Daphne's mom's thing, and they give her an earplug type thing so she can talk to her husband, or have her husband talk to her, tell him what's been going on. Then they finally walk into this other room where they find Corey, I believe, or Chloe. Her name's Chloe, is like the rep, the class rep or something like that. And she is like, she pretended to be inside one of those tubes where they found Jennifer. And she ends up pretty much telling them, like, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you two meddling kids. And pretty much Daphne says, well, how old are you? And Chloe pretty much tells her, I'm 26 years old. It's not that old, guys. 26 and teens are not that far away from each other. So the cops come, pretty much arrest her, and the next day at school. Okay, I don't know if anyone else heard this, but one of the kids go up to Daphne and Velma and say, call each other D and V. I know it's for Daphne and Velma, but yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then they're back at home. Well, Daphne's back at home, and I get my... Daphne's dad asks, how do you get so brave? I get it from my dad. And then her mom's like, yep, she gets it from you, honey. And has a funny look afterwards. Then Velma calls Daphne and, they go to Velma's house and they get a cryptic message from somebody. And it pretty much, leaves it looks scary. So this is definitely sequel bait for this. And it would be interesting if they took something like this. Alright, this is what I have to just say about this movie so far right now. It's a good, cute little movie that's out there that you could watch. And it's just fun to watch, It's just... They do get into a little bit of like the Scooby-Doo angst eventually later in the film. But it'd be better, just a little bit better, if we had Fred, Shag, and Scoob. I'm just saying. But that's it. That's the only flaw about this movie. It's really good in its own right. For the Scooby-Doo franchise, it's a good little piece of film. I enjoyed this movie because I'm a Scooby-Doo fan, and any Scooby-Doo content is fine with me. So, till next time, my friends and fans, I've been Tank, signing off. Peace out, much love, and thank you for listening to or watching the first Tanks World podcast of 2022. So, have a wonderful day. Peace out.